When night falls, the darkness starts to speak. Between each breath and the silence there are whispers no one was meant to hear. This is Night Whispers, where the dark has a story to tell. My name is Patrick McCabe. Growing up, I had the kind of teeth that made dentists shake their heads crooked, crowded, and just plain awful. Because of that, I didn't get my wisdom teeth removed until much later than most people. While everyone else had theirs out in high school or college, I waited until well after graduation to finally face the dentist chair. But I was different. I didn't even schedule a consultation until after I'd finished college. The surgery was brutal, easily one of the most painful experiences of my life. Every movement of my jaw felt like fire. I won't drag you through all the details of my recovery, but there's one thing you need to know, something that still haunts me today. For some reason, the pain was unbearable, sharp, constant, and deep enough to keep me from sleeping. I had to create a miserable routine, waking myself every 3 hours to take my next dose, switching between 2 prescribed medications. It was exhausting, but without them, the throbbing in my jaw grew so intense it brought tears to my eyes night after night. It goes without saying that my sleep schedule was completely wrecked during that time. My body adapted to a miserable 3-hour cycle, short bursts of sleep, followed by long stretches of restless wakefulness. Even after I'd healed, I couldn't return to a normal rhythm. Honestly, that was the worst part. The exhaustion didn't just drain me, it made me feel less than human, like I was slowly unraveling inside my own skin. It was like I'd turned into something less than human, a machine running on 3-hour cycles of misery. Wake, medicate, sleep, repeat. I hated it. One night, during that first awful week of recovery, I woke up around 4 a.m. to take another dose. But when I lay back down, something felt different. My body was exhausted, yet my mind was wide awake, like it refused to let me rest. I couldn't tell if it was the medication, my condition, or maybe the AC giving up on me, but my room felt suffocatingly hot that night, far warmer than usual. Sweat clung to my sheets as I tossed and turned, trying to get comfortable. After nearly 10 minutes of frustration, I gave up. The only solution that came to mind was simple enough. I got up, crossed the room, and opened my bedroom window. Opening the window helped a little, but sleep still wouldn't come. I lay there, staring at the ceiling silently, begging my body to shut down and rest, but of course it didn't. That's when I began to hear it, a faint, unfamiliar sound drifting in from outside the window. Since I'd never slept with it open before, I told myself it was probably nothing, just some harmless night noise. But the longer I listened, the less ordinary it seemed. The noise had this gritty, deliberate rhythm, like something sharp scraping against wood. It wasn't the rustle of wind or the hum of insects. It was scratching, slow, uneven, and close. My stomach tightened as the sound grew louder, shifting position until it felt like it was coming from directly above me from the roof itself. A few seconds later, the noise began to move slow, deliberate steps crawling across the roof until it faded into the distance. By then, I was almost certain it was some animal nosing around up there. We lived deep in the woods after all, and raccoons or stray pests weren't exactly new to us. I wanted so badly to ignore it, to just roll over and sleep. But the thought of my dad losing his mind if another creature burrowed into the attic forced me to act. I couldn't just lie there. It's not like I was anywhere close to falling asleep anyway. My eyes were wide open, my heart still pacing with unease. So without overthinking it, I tossed the blanket aside, swung my legs off the bed, and headed for the garage. I grabbed my dad's heavy-duty flashlight, the kind that could cut through fog, and made my way to the back door. My room was on the first floor near the lower part of the roof, so that seemed like the perfect place to start checking. I stepped out beneath my bedroom window and aimed the flashlight upward, its harsh beam slicing through the dark. Nothing, not even a shadow, moved across the shingles. I let out a frustrated sigh, guessing the animal had scampered off to another part of the roof while I was getting outside. Still, I wasn't ready to give up. I began circling the house, slowly sweeping the light back and forth, determined to catch whatever was up there. All I needed was to scare the thing off easy enough, or so I thought. I moved toward the front of the house where the roof rose much higher, scanning every dark edge. Then something flickered at the corner of my light, a quick, unmistakable movement. My pulse spiked. With a sharp twist of my wrist, I turned the flashlight toward it, and in that instant, what the beam revealed made my blood run cold. I almost dropped the light. And there he was, not a raccoon, not some stray animal, but a person. A full-grown, completely naked man stood motionless on my roof, caught in the harsh glare of my flashlight. For a moment, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. Then instinct took over. I screamed. The sound tore through the night, and the figure suddenly lurched to life, twisting and scrambling, as if the light itself were burning his skin. I swung the flashlight wildly, trying to follow the figure's movements, but they were impossibly quick, darting across the roof like some feral creature. I'd never seen anyone move that fast barefoot, especially on loose, uneven shingles that should have sent them slipping. My stomach twisted as I realized they were heading straight toward my room. Without thinking, I bolted around the side of the house, adrenaline surging, desperate to cut them off before they reached my window. I can't explain what took over me. Logic screamed to run back inside, lock the doors, call the cops, but something deeper, something primal pushed me forward instead. I shouted for my dad, my voice cracking in panic as I tore through the yard. The beam of my flashlight bounced wildly, catching the figure crouched at the roof's edge. For a split second our eyes met, and then he bent his knees, clearly ready to jump. My brain refused to believe what my eyes were seeing. No one could survive a fall like that, not without breaking bones, not without screaming in pain. But he didn't hesitate for even a heartbeat. He just jumped. The sound of his body hitting the concrete echoed through the yard, a sharp, sickening crack that made my stomach drop. I stood there, paralyzed, too stunned to even breathe. My mind blanked completely. This couldn't be real. No one could just jump from a roof like that and stand up, yet he did. He rose in one swift, unnatural motion like the pain didn't even exist. Before I could react, he was already sprinting toward me. The next thing I knew, his weight crashed into my chest, slamming me onto the cold ground and knocking the air out of my lungs. His nails raked across my face, sharp and frantic like an animal fighting for its life. I could feel his hot breath and hear the guttural growls bubbling from his throat. No matter how hard I kicked or pushed, he wouldn't budge. His strength felt inhuman. Warm blood streamed down my cheek, blinding one eye. Panic swallowed everything. For a split second, I was certain I wasn't getting out alive. Through my own screaming, a new sound tore through the chaos, the back door slamming open. My dad's voice followed, fierce and desperate as he yanked the man off me with all his strength. I stumbled to my feet, dizzy and bleeding, just in time to see that lunatic twist out of my dad's grip. His body glistened dark red under the porch light my blood. Then, without a word or even a glance back, he sprinted toward the fence, climbed it like an animal, and vanished into the night. My dad and I just stood frozen, staring into the dark tree line where the footsteps faded, neither of us able to speak. It was like the world had stopped spinning for a moment. Then the pain hit sharp, searing, and real. My dad snapped out of it first half, carrying me to the car and speeding toward the hospital. I remember the headlights blurring, his hands shaking on the wheel. The doctors said I was lucky. A little deeper, and I might have lost an eye or worse. The only silver lining was that my mouth had been spared no damage to the fresh stitches, no more dental agony. The police, however, were no comfort. They treated the whole thing like an inconvenience, shrugging and saying it was impossible to search the forest. Their final advice: install some cameras next time. Even now, years later, I still replay that night in my head, wondering what that man wanted and why he chose our house. The thought that he was trying to dig into the attic like some deranged animal still makes my skin crawl. My mom refuses to sleep without the security alarms armed, and every creak in the walls sends her flinching. As for me, I'll never forget the sound of his footsteps fading into the woods. I've spent countless nights wondering who that man was and how he even discovered our secluded home. The questions still haunt me, but one detail keeps coming back: the house itself. It's not like any other place I've seen. I like to call it unique, though most people who visit can't help but laugh and say it's just plain weird. Honestly, they're not entirely wrong. Everyone who's ever stepped inside has commented on how oddly built the place is. Even the girls I secretly invited over used to joke that the layout felt like a maze. I wish I could just show you pictures to explain it better, but my parents would lose their minds if I did. So the best I can do is paint a picture with words, the parts that truly matter. It's kind of hard to describe unless you've seen it yourself. Picture a short, narrow tunnel attached to the front of the house walls on both sides, a ceiling above, and the main door at the very end. When you step inside, it feels enclosed, almost like walking through an outdoor corridor that traps every sound. It's an odd setup, but it plays a crucial role in what happened next. So basically, when someone walks up to my house, they have to pass through this narrow, covered space before reaching the actual door. My bedroom sits directly beside that hallway, separated only by a thin wall and a window. From my bed, I can hear every footstep, every whisper that echoes in that passage. It's convenient for curiosity, but that same layout would one day terrify me. It became almost second nature to me. Whenever the doorbell rang, I'd quietly peek through the blinds before anyone else even moved. From that angle, I could see everything, who was there, what they were holding, even their body language, all while they had no idea I was watching. It felt like my own little secret advantage, a hidden lookout built right into my room. Having that secret vantage point always made me feel oddly secure, like I had control over who entered my world. But that summer, it didn't protect me. It all began when my parents went away for a week-long trip, leaving me with the house to myself. The freedom was thrilling, so thinking it harmless, I invited my girlfriend Anna to stay over for a few days. We thought it would just be a quiet, cozy time together. We were wrong. It felt almost rebellious having the house to ourselves with no rules for once. Anna and I curled up on the couch, the glow of the TV flickering across the living room. We laughed, shared inside jokes, and for a while everything felt simple and safe. When the movie ended, we turned off the lights, still chatting softly, completely unaware that the real story of that week hadn't even begun. The second night started just as peacefully as the first, soft music, quiet laughter, and the gentle hum of summer crickets outside. We stayed up late talking about everything and nothing, completely at ease. The air was warm, the kind that makes you feel safe and lazy. But that calm didn't last. Looking back now, I realize that was the last truly normal night I'd ever spend in that house. At first, I thought it was just the wind or maybe a stray branch scraping the ground. But the sound had weight, deliberate, uneven, like something heavy being pulled. I held my breath, straining to listen. Anna whispered, asking what was wrong, but I just motioned for her to stay quiet. The noise came again, louder, this time echoing faintly from the direction of the driveway. The scraping noise turned into a hollow clatter like plastic hitting pavement. My stomach tightened. It wasn't windy, and raccoons didn't usually make that much noise. I crept out of bed, peeking through the blinds, but from that angle, I couldn't see the driveway at all. Whatever was out there was hidden just beyond the glow of the porch light, too close for comfort, yet completely unseen. The scraping noise turned into a hollow clatter like plastic hitting pavement. My stomach tightened. It wasn't windy, and raccoons didn't usually make that much noise. I crept out of bed, peeking through the blinds, but from that angle I couldn't see the driveway at all. Whatever was out there was hidden just beyond the glow of the porch light, too close for comfort, yet completely unseen. The night air hit me like a wall, thick, humid, and unnervingly quiet. Even the crickets had gone silent. I stepped onto the porch, scanning the yard, but nothing moved. The only sound was the faint hum of the streetlight down the road. My heartbeat felt louder than the world around me. I called out a soft hello, half hoping for an answer, half praying I wouldn't get one. The silence felt unnatural, almost staged, as if the night itself were holding its breath. I took a few cautious steps off the porch, the wooden boards creaking behind me. My flashlight trembled in my hand as I swept it across the yard. The trash can stood still, perfectly ordinary, and yet I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me from just beyond the dark. The beam from my phone light cut through the darkness, revealing a trail of junk bottles, wrappers, even a torn cereal box strewn across the driveway. My pulse quickened as I crouched beside the toppled bin. Something about the mess felt deliberate, not random like an animal raid. The air around me felt thick, charged as though someone had been there only moments before I stepped outside. I let out a tired sigh and started picking up the scattered trash, the quiet around me pressing against my ears. Every rustle of paper or clink of a can made me flinch. When I finally stood up, I took one last slow sweep of the flashlight across the yard. The beam caught nothing, no eyes, no movement, just the eerie stillness of a night that felt too awake. Once the driveway was clean, I hurried back inside, locking the garage like sealing a vault. The house felt unusually still, the kind of silence that makes your own footsteps sound too loud. I double-checked the doors before slipping back into bed beside Anna. Her breathing was slow, peaceful, but mine wasn't. Even as I closed my eyes, I couldn't shake the feeling that something outside hadn't left at all. Anna mumbled something half asleep as I settled beside her, the dim glow of the streetlight painting soft lines across the ceiling. My eyelids grew heavy, that hazy point where thoughts melt into dreams. The house was quiet again, or so I thought. Then, just as my breathing steadied, a faint metallic sound crept through the silence, so soft it could have been imagined, yet sharp enough to pull me back from the edge of sleep. At first, the sound felt distant, rhythmic, deliberate, like someone testing patience rather than glass. My heart picked up before my thoughts did. I blinked into the dark, the faint light from the window, outlining familiar shapes that suddenly felt foreign. Tap, 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 each one sharper, closer. My mind scrambled for logic, a branch, the wind, anything but deep down, I already knew it wasn't the house that was making that sound. The tapping grew steadier, almost patient, now echoing through the stillness like a heartbeat I couldn't escape. My pulse thudded in my ears as I strained to locate its left wall, the floor. No, it was sharper, thinner, too clean. The realization hit me cold. The sound wasn't within the room's walls at all. It was right outside, close enough that the glass itself seemed to tremble with every touch. My breath caught as my eyes adjusted to the dim light. The figure was motionless, tall, slightly hunched as if listening for something inside. Their shadow stretched long across the porch tiles, broken only when they shifted a fraction, head twitching like they sensed my gaze. I didn't dare breathe. For one dreadful second I thought they might turn around, and if they did, I wasn't sure I could handle seeing their face. Each tap was so faint it barely echoed, yet deliberate enough to slice through the silence. The rhythm was steady, too human to be random, too patient to be sane. My skin crawled as I squinted through the glass, desperate to catch a clearer glimpse. All I saw was a pale outline, a shimmer of movement, like someone testing the boundary between being seen and staying hidden. My pulse hammered so hard I could hear it in my ears. Every second stretched into eternity as I crouched there, frozen, praying they wouldn't come closer. The floor creaked beneath me, and I bit my lip to stay silent. Finally, when the stillness grew unbearable, I dared to lift the curtain, just a sliver dread curling in my stomach at what I might see staring back. The moment our eyes met, the world seemed to stop. His face wasn't just shriveled, it twitched, muscles pulling unnaturally, as if his skin didn't fit right. His eyes were wide and wet, reflecting the faint porch light like glass marbles, and his mouth hung open in a silent, trembling grin. I stumbled backward, crashing into the nightstand, my heart clawing at my ribs. That face, that impossible, decaying face, burned into my mind, an image I knew I would never be able to forget. The sirens were the sweetest sound I'd ever heard. When the red and blue lights finally painted the walls through my window, I almost cried from relief. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely explain what had happened to the dispatcher. Anna whispered my name over and over, her voice trembling, begging me not to open the door. Every creak of the house made us flinch, both of us praying the nightmare outside wouldn't find a way in before the police did. One officer shined his flashlight along the windowsills while the other checked the backyard, their radios crackling softly in the tense silence. Every door was sealed, every lock untouched. It was as if the man had vanished into thin air. When they told me that, a cold realization hit. If he hadn't broken in, he must have known something I didn't. Maybe he'd been here before, learning every inch of the house, waiting for the right night. When the cruisers finally rolled away, the house felt painfully empty. For days afterward, every creak and rustle made my heart skip. I told my parents everything, expecting panic, but they just exchanged glances, saying it was probably some drunk or a prank. Their calm should have reassured me, but instead it made the whole thing feel worse, like I was the only one who truly understood how wrong that night had been. For a while, I convinced myself they were right. Maybe it really had been nothing, just a random vagrant passing through. But late at night, when the house settled and the walls groaned, I'd catch myself staring at that same window, expecting to see a face again. It wasn't fear exactly. It was something colder, the feeling that whatever had come that night wasn't finished yet. The noises aren't loud, just faint thuds, slow scraping, sometimes a whisper that could easily be the wind. But every time I wake, it's always at the same hour, 3:14 a.m. I started marking it down without meaning to. Each night the sounds feel a little closer, like whatever's out there is learning where my window is. My dad says the cameras will catch it, but deep down I'm terrified that when they finally do, we'll wish they hadn't. It's been months, but I still wake up some nights certain that I've heard that same soft tapping again. The cameras never caught anything, no movement, no figure, just silence. Yet sometimes when I check the footage, a single frame flickers like something was there and then erased itself. Maybe it's paranoia, or maybe it's proof. Either way, every creak in the dark reminds me that he might not be gone, just waiting for me to forget. I've always liked to think of myself as a man of quiet routines, the kind who enjoys solitude rather than fears it. My little house isn't much, but it's mine, and every corner of it feels like peace. No barking dogs, no arguments, no alarms. Just silence, the kind that lets you breathe. People say living alone gets lonely, but to me, it's freedom, or at least it used to be before that night reminded me how fragile peace can really be. Freedom to me isn't just about being alone, it's about control. Waking when I want, eating when I want, living by no one's clock but my own. Maybe that sounds selfish, but it's honest. I've worked hard to build a life where silence is my companion and peace is my reward. I didn't realize until recently how quickly that freedom can vanish with just one sound in the dark. Of course, too much freedom comes with its own curse. My nights have stretched longer and longer until morning feels like an afterthought. I tell myself I'm just more creative after midnight, but truthfully, it's loneliness disguised as productivity. The world is quiet, then too quiet, and in that silence, even the smallest sound can feel like someone whispering your name. That night felt no different from the hundreds before it, the hum of my computer, the faint glow of the screen, and the comforting rhythm of typing. Time didn't exist. It was just me and the soft buzz of solitude. I wasn't tired, just lost in thought, working like the world outside had gone extinct. Everything was so calm, so perfectly ordinary that when the silence finally broke, it felt like reality itself had shattered. The sound hit me like an explosion, violent, deliberate, and far too close. Each thud against the door shook the air, rattling the calm I'd been drowning in moments before. My fingers froze above the keyboard, breath caught in my throat. Someone was inside my house. The kind of footsteps I heard weren't hesitant or lost, they were confident, heavy, and hunting. For a few seconds I couldn't tell if it was real, or if my overworked mind had finally cracked. Pain shot through my leg, but I barely felt it. Adrenaline drowned everything else. The monitor clattered to the floor, its glow flickering like a dying candle. My heart pounded so violently it hurt. Every instinct screamed at me to move, to hide, to do something, yet I stood frozen, staring at the trembling door. The world had shrunk to that single sound, the echo of those impossible knocks still reverberating inside my skull. Seconds stretched into minutes as silence reclaimed the room. My pulse thudded in my ears, loud enough to drown out thought. The door stood still, unmoving, mocking my fear. Every creak of the house made me flinch, waiting for the inevitable, but nothing happened. The quiet was worse than the noise. It felt like the darkness itself was holding its breath. The footsteps were real this time, sharp, hurried, unmistakable. Each step echoed like a hammer, striking my nerves, fading toward the far end of the hall. My paralysis broke just enough for a single, ragged breath. Someone had been there. Someone was there. The realization hit me harder than any nightmare could. My body trembled, torn between chasing the sound and locking myself away forever. My bare feet slapped against the cold floor as I tore down the hallway, bottle clenched tight like a weapon. Every corner I turned, I expected to see a shadow darting away, a glimpse of the intruder who had invaded my home. My screams echoed through the house, raw and desperate, mixing with the pounding of my heart. Logic was gone, only instinct remained, urging me to hunt before I became the hunted. Room by room, my panic deepened. The house felt smaller with every turn, walls closing in as I found nothing, no footprints, no open window, not even a curtain disturbed. Every lock was sealed, every door untouched. The silence returned like a cruel echo, and the adrenaline that had fueled me moments ago vanished. What replaced it was cold, creeping dread, like the fear itself had found a way in. Back in my room, I slammed the door shut, twisting the lock until it clicked like a lifeline. My breathing was ragged, the phone shaking in my hand as I called 911. The silence that followed was unbearable. Every second stretched, every creak in the house felt alive. When the police finally arrived, their flashlights swept through each room, revealing nothing. One officer claimed the intruder must have fled, but I knew better. No one could have left a house that's sealed. The officer's words echoed in my head long after they left. You probably overlooked something. That single sentence gnawed at me like rust. Every night after I replayed the sound of those footsteps, the pounding on the door, over and over, I checked every lock, every window, every inch of my house until dawn. Sleep abandoned me completely. Logic whispered one thing, but my gut screamed another. Someone had been inside. For weeks my mind was at war with itself, logic against fear, reason against memory. I kept replaying that night, searching for cracks in my own sanity, yet everything still felt too real. The echo of those footsteps haunted every quiet moment. Even now, when I convince myself it must have been a forgotten latch or loose lock, a part of me knows better. The sound was inside my house. I didn't imagine it. I heard it. To this day, I still wonder who or what came pounding on my door that night. Some mysteries fade with time, but this one still breathes beside me in the dark. Thank you for staying until the end. If the dark didn't scare you away, maybe you belong here. Subscribe to Night Whispers and let the darkness find you again next time.